Welcome to Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's is the latest Blumhouse horror flick, which is based on a video game that was itself inspired by the nightmare fuel that was Chuck E. Cheese's animatronic show. Anyone who grew up in the 80s or 90s probably had the unnerving experience of being serenaded by a dead-eyed mouse and his uncannily dead-eyed friends. 3 decades later, the House of Chuck has largely jettisoned the machine creatures, but in a culture that's constantly weaponizing and monetizing nostalgia, we've got not one but 2 films in which animatronic plushies at abandoned children's theme restaurants come to life with murderous intent. The uncanny valley is alive and well. If you were terrified by Five Nights at Freddy's, I've got 5 more spine tinglers in which inanimate objects come to life. I remember watching Maximum Overdrive on TBS when I was 7 or 8 years old. First off, it scared the shit out of me. But the sheer gonzo creativity of this film, directed in 1986 by master of horror Stephen King, based on his own short story, sent my mind reeling. In one of my favorite sequences, a soda pop dispensing machine goes haywire and takes out an entire Little League. I ended up writing my own short story at the time about household appliances, a hairdryer was involved, that turn on their users. According to King himself, he was coked out of his mind at the time of production, and it shows. This film crackles with manic energy that makes it a must-watch, although it likely wasn't a fun experience for anyone involved in the production. King never directed another film. Next up, we've got Peter Strickland's 2019 film In Fabric, about a killer dress. Literally. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who delivers an impeccable performance here, plays a put-upon bank teller, newly divorced, looking for love, and dealing with an increasingly distant teenage son, who splurges on a striking red dress at a high-end couture shop in the hopes that it will change her outlook on life. It does just that, and then some. Inspired a little by candy-colored giallo flicks and a little by the claustrophobic British horror of the late 60s and early 70s, this film is thrilling and funny and poignant in the ways it depicts characters trapped by circumstance. It's an anti-consumer culture satire, a commentary on the ways that pop culture warps our outlook on the world, and a nasty little gore fest, all wrapped into one package. Magic is a little bit of a cheat, for reasons I won't spoil here, but it's an absolute hoot of a film. In it, Anthony Hopkins, 2 decades before his iconic role as Hannibal Lecter, plays a struggling magician who suddenly vaunts to fame when he adds a foul-mouthed ventriloquist dummy, say that 5 times fast, who seems to have an inner life all of his own. Hopkins' character Corky seems to always have Fats around, even when he's not on stage. The question becomes, is Fats a crutch to help Corky deal with crippling self-doubt? A kind of anthropomorphized worry stone? Or is the dummy actually controlling Corky? I struggle to put into words just how delightfully deranged the 1977 Japanese film Hausu is. It has to be seen to be believed. In terms of plot, the film follows a young girl named Gorgeous on a trip to her aunt's house with 6 schoolmates. Soon, they learn the house has come to life, devouring the girls in all sorts of creative ways. One of them has her hands eaten by a piano. Another is trapped inside a grandfather clock. Some of the nightmarish imagery was inspired by director Nobuhiko Obayashi's 10-year-old daughter, Chigumi. The director remembered her saying, "Daddy, it would be scary if my reflection in that mirror began attacking me." And it makes sense. The imagination of a child twists these ordinary sights and sounds into genuine horror. Finally, we circle back to Willy's Wonderland, Kevin Lewis's gonzo horror comedy that bears more than a passing resemblance to the popular Five Nights at Freddy's video game. In it, a virtually silent and unnamed character played by, of all people, Nicolas Cage, deals with a coterie of demonic animatronic characters inside a long-abandoned Chuck E. Cheese-style restaurant. It's briskly paced with more than a little self-conscious humor and features Beth Grant, a character actress who I will watch in just about anything. What are your favorite inanimate objects gone haywire films? Let me know in the comments, and if you like what I'm doing, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content. You could also buy me a coffee. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.